still the morning for me, and frankly, morning is not my best time. But here we all are. Okay, first of all, how many of you voted in the advance polls? Very nice. And how many of you intend to vote on Monday? Very good. Who wasn't ready to vote? Oh, you're not allowed. We let them in the room. Here's the thing. I want to give you an idea of what I do. I ask that question at the beginning of any of our chapter meetings. We have 350,000 members across the country, all of a certain age. However, we don't have a lower limit anymore because we believe that the issues that we focus on matter to everybody. We recently held a Toronto mayor's debate last year, and more recently a federal candidates debate. And we invited members of each of the parties to come and talk to us about the issues that their party are going to address that will matter and resonate with older Canadians. And why should they care? Well, because older voters vote all the time. 70% of those over the age of 60 vote regularly. Now, for the younger group, such as the people in this room, I'm glad to see that this is a very engaged subset of your demographic, which is extremely important. The key message from me to you today is that we share some common goals. So at this federal debate, we asked three main questions. One, on retirement security. You might think, well, I'm far from retirement. The point is, if you don't start now to save for your retirement, you're not going to get there very easily. The second point we focused on was the issue of healthcare, caregiving, caring for your parents, caring for your grandparents. One of my staff, who's 20, just turned 30, rushed home today. Would have been here otherwise because his father had a heart attack. Family is now in the throes of dealing with caregiving at home. It's an issue that touches all of us. The last point that we focused on was something we call stewardship. How much do we care about the legacy we leave the children and the grandchildren, or the environment, our systems of government, our democracy? How much do you care how they behave in the House of Commons? How much do you care that the Speaker ruled one party or the government in contempt? How much do you care that the vote could change the shape of our democracy today? Those are the kinds of issues I suspect the people in this room care about very much. So obviously, when we focus on the issues that CARP directs its attention to, these are issues that I think even earlier said to me and others in Canada as well, said, we're so glad that CARP is getting involved. Canadian Association of Retired Persons is our legal name. We don't use that legal name anymore. We say CARP because so many people can't afford to retire. But why should it be a surprise, right? One of our focus in our advocacy at the municipal and provincial levels is, of course, age-friendly cities, right? And what does that mean? It doesn't mean be nice to old people and give them their seat. It means that people of all ages have a right to be fully engaged in a civic life and everything that entails. It means they should be able to get there on their own. It means that they should not be excluded simply because they can't get there, right? And these are the kinds of issues that we grapple with at the municipal level so that when they are running up to vote in their local federal election, they can get there on their own. They don't need somebody else getting them there. So what does that mean when we talk about the issues that are focused here, complete streets? It means that people can get around the city. We're not focusing only on whether the sidewalks are safe or whether you have the cuts in the corners of the sidewalks or how fast the lights. Now, that countdown clock to get you across the street. I mean, some of you have to sprint across the street to get across. And this is the kind of thing that you have to think through. But how do you get at all of these different things? What's the organizing framework for what we are trying to do? And we believe that issue is universal mobility. That is, everybody can get to where they need to go on their own, safely, conveniently, affordably. Right? So what does that mean? It means that we have decent public transit, we have safe roads, when we build a thoroughfare, we build a pedestrian walkway so people can get across it without taking lives in their hands. We think about these things before you build these things. Bike lanes are important, of course, And, somebody might suggest that, well, older people are not going to be on bikes. No. Let's challenge that, as the minister has mentioned. In the Netherlands, people of all ages are still on the bikes all of the years. So these are the kinds of presumptions we need to get rid of. And if we use the organizing principle of universal mobility, then we get a clearer picture of what we're trying to do. So of course it means, as I said, public transit, affordability, and so on. But there's no point giving people, as seniors, discount if the bus never comes to their door. So we have to think this kind of thing through. These little patchwork things don't always work. And finally, maybe we start thinking about how we set up our cities. Maybe people should not have to take a bus clear across the city to go to a recreation center or to see their doctors. Maybe we try to co-locate many of these public services in community hubs. To utilize public buildings, schools, for example, school properties. Some of the schools are underutilized. Perhaps they can be multi-purposed to include a community center, public service office, all of these things that allow people to live and walk to where they need to go and not have to worry about taking the bus. So that's our mandate at CARP, and I'm looking forward to hearing what all the experts, of course we are not experts, we are advocates. What we try to do is take all the good ideas that experts come up with, put them in front of politicians and say, okay, our voters are the most engaged voters. We've told them about these issues. They've decided they want them. Now, how about you get it for us? Right? That's our job.